The Caribbean Sea is normally a backdrop for cruise liners and beach vacations. Today it becomes the arena for one of the most dangerous standoffs on the planet. On one side stands the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, a nation rich in oil, isolated by sanctions, economically broken, yet heavily armed with advanced Russian weaponry. On the other side, just beyond Venezuelan territorial waters, patrols a United States carrier strike group, a floating metropolis of steel, sensors, and nuclear power. For years, the conflict has existed only in speeches, harsh words, threats shouted from podiums. But in this scenario, the words end deep inside a bunker in Caracas. A final order is transmitted to pilots waiting at El Libertor Air Base. The command is short, desperate, and nearly suicidal. Engage. The American fleet. To understand why this happens, you have to look at geography. This isn't just ideology. It's about the Essequibo. For more than a century, Venezuela has claimed nearly two-thirds of neighboring Guyana as its own, a vast jungle territory rich in minerals and gold. But more importantly, offshore waters packed with billions of barrels of high-quality oil. Venezuela's economy is collapsing, its infrastructure decaying, and the regime is running out of options. Nationalism becomes the last card left to play. The promise to reclaim the Essequibo has been sold to the public as salvation. Standing in the way isn't Guyana's military, which is barely larger than a national police force, but the USS George Washington and its escort ships, conducting freedom of navigation operations to protect international shipping lanes. In this scenario, Venezuelan leadership declares the American presence an act of war and chooses to strike first. Most people assume a war between the United States and a South American nation would end instantly, but they forget what Venezuela purchased when oil sold for $100 a barrel. They are not relying on rusted Cold War relics. They fly the Sukhoi Su-30MK to flanker, a heavy twin-engine air superiority fighter designed specifically to challenge American aircraft. It boasts long-range, powerful radar, and carries the KH-31 Krypton, a supersonic anti-ship missile capable of reaching Mach 3.5 over 2,600 miles per hour. It skims the ocean's surface, hiding from radar until the final seconds. On paper, Venezuela has 23 of these aircraft. If launched together in a coordinated saturation attack, the gamble is simple: overwhelm U.S. defenses before they can respond. But their target isn't just a ship, it's the most advanced integrated combat system ever built. A carrier strike group is layered like an onion. At its core is the aircraft carrier, the queen on the chessboard. Surrounding it are Ticonderoga-class cruisers and Arleigh-Burke-class destroyers, all linked by the Aegis combat system. Aegis isn't just radar, it's a shared brain. Ship detects a threat, every ship knows instantly. They don't fight individually. They fight as a single organism. The attack begins at dawn. At El Libertar Air Base, ground crews work through the night. Pilots climb into their Su-30s knowing this may be a one-way mission. Engines roar. 12 flankers taxi and lift off in pairs, hugging the ocean below 500 feet. Using Earth's curvature and sea clutter to avoid detection, fly high and they're dead. Stay low and they might get close enough. Their objective: reach within 60 miles. Fire their missiles and escape. But the U.S. Navy doesn't rely on ship radars alone above the fleet. At 25,000 feet circles an E-2D Hawkeye, awkward-looking with a massive radar dome on top. But inside that dome is the APY-9 radar, capable of seeing far beyond the horizon. Inside the aircraft, a radar operator watches 12 contacts appear. No panic. One button press, hostile instantly. The data streams to every ship in the fleet. Venezuela's only advantage: surprise evaporates before a single missile is launched, at 100 miles out. Warning alarms scream inside Venezuelan cockpits. They haven't even seen an American ship, but they're already targeted. Arleigh-Burke destroyers fire SM-6 missiles, Mach 3.5 interceptors with active radar seekers. The pilots break formation, chaff, flares, violent, evasive maneuvers. It doesn't matter. The missiles don't get tired. They don't hesitate, for Su-30s vanish in fireballs, crashing into the Caribbean. The remaining pilots panic. They fire their missiles early, blindly, turn to flee. Now the threat shifts. 16 supersonic anti-ship missiles race toward. The carrier on the George Washington, alarms blare. Vampire. 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 Aegis takes control. The system calculates trajectories, speeds, priorities all in milliseconds. SM-2 interceptors streak skyward. Explosions light the horizon as missile meets missile. War is never perfect. Debris, confusion, let's say 15. Missiles are destroyed, one survives. Damaged. It's unstable, but still lethal. It punches through jamming, evades ESSM defenses, and enters terminal phase. Only one line of defense remains. CIWS the Phalanx, a computer-controlled Gatling gun. Firing 4,500 tungsten rounds per minute. It screams like a chainsaw tearing through the air. The missile detonates 500 yards off. The carriers bow. The shockwave slams the ship. Antennas shred. Shrapnel rips across the flight deck. An F-35 ignites. Sailors are thrown to the deck. Carrier shudders but holds. Wounded. Scorched. Still alive. Damage control teams swarm the deck. Silver suits spraying foam. Below, in the Combat Information Center, the mindset changes. Defensive is over. The strike group commander contacts the Pentagon. We've taken kinetic fire. Request authorization to sanitize the battle space. The reply is immediate. Weapons free. The retaliation doesn't. It's begin from the carrier. It rises from the deep. 50 miles offshore, the USS Florida, an Ohio-class guided missile submarine, has been waiting silently. Inside its hull, 154 Tomahawk. Cruise missiles, the order is given. Hatches open. Fire erupts from the sea. It looks biblical. The first wave annihilates coastal radar sites, blinding Venezuela's air defenses. The second wave shreds runways at El Libertor and Barcelona, rendering them unusable. The third wave obliterates S-300 missile batteries, helpless without radar. Meanwhile, cyber warfare finishes the job. Lights go out in Venezuela's Ministry of Defense. Communications collapse. Command chains disintegrate. The military is deaf, blind, and leaderless. Now the carrier launches. Hornets and F-35s fill the sky, loaded not with air-to-air weapons, precision bombs. Cleanup begins. The Venezuelan Navy is sunk within hours. Pilots low on fuel are forced to eject into the sea. The Venezuelan Air Force ceases to exist. Rumors spread in Caracas. Panic follows, but no invasion comes. The U.S. doesn't want occupation. It wants collapse. A naval blockade seals Venezuela off. Oil exports stop. Food imports vanish. Cash dries up. Loyalty dissolves. Russia issues statements. Nothing more. China calculates risk and steps back. Weeks later, unpaid officers move against the regime. A coup, a surrender, broadcast through. Static, the Essequibo remains Jew. The carrier sails home, and on the ocean floor, wreckage becomes reef. The lesson is simple. You don't fight a ship. You fight a system, and systems win.